With Shadowlands, I like the theory that it wasn't the true land of dead, but some instrument that stores souls, preventing them from getting to a real realm of death. I mean, here's the thing, right? Everyone talks about, well, everyone. It used to be quite a topic of conversation in the community that, you know, we should retcon Shadowlands. And you can't retcon the things that happened in Shadowlands. I think that would be a huge mistake. You can't just retcon the events of an entire expansion.
Correct.
So, you know, everything that happened to Anduin, everything with the jailer, everything that happened to Sylvanas and Tyrande, you can't retcon that shit.
Yeah.
That would be
You can't just erase it.
Wild. It just wouldn't work. That's not the kind of precedent you want to set for the game.
Right.
However, I think there's a valid case for retconning what the Shadowlands is.
It's not a retcon. That is what it is. The Shadowlands is not the true realm of death. It's not a retcon.
They retconned a load of BC, I think. No, there are a lot of retcons in BC, but those retcons aren't things that happened like in WoW, right? So, you know, fine.
Yeah.
You can't retcon
like the Eridar and Nathrazim and stuff.
the entire like events of a whole expansion. That wouldn't work. But I think you can retcon what the Shadowlands is, because
It's not a retcon.
what Shadowlands said the Shadowlands is isn't what the Shadowlands is supposed to be.
Yeah, that's not a retcon.
Like, okay, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring up the whole cosmology chart, okay?
Do it.
Because I think it's important. I think this is important.
Do it.
So, you know, looking at the cosmology chart and what we always believed the Shadowlands as an entity to be. The Shadowlands on the cosmology chart is not the realm of death. Okay? It's not the death cosmology. Okay? It's not. It never was. It was never supposed to be. It is like the equivalent of the Emerald Dream, and specifically the Emerald Dream to our reality. You can see it on the cosmology chart here. The Shadowlands is part of our reality.
Or it's pulled into it, Tally. There is a chance that it's anchored to it. But I agree. It is connected for sure. I mean, it blatantly is connected. There's no question of that.
Not part of the realm of death. Okay? And the way it was sold in the Shadowlands expansion, it was like, you are now in the realm of death, and this is what it is. Here it is. We're in the death cosmology right now, which is wild and doesn't work. You know, and that is what they were selling it as, because, you know, you had like souls from like every other different, like, kind of from loads of different planets and stuff.
And I don't disagree with him. He's right. Shadowlands is presented as the afterlife. This is the realm of death. And I don't think that they properly got the narrative beats across to make it clear what the Shadowlands really is. They didn't get that across. That's the problem. But it doesn't change the fact that that's what it is. Bad narrative execution is different from a narrative just being something else, right? The Shadowlands is still a soul net, but it's not portrayed the proper way to get you to realize it. You like
that, which would be part of our reality as well. You know, that's what the Shadowlands is. It's not the actual realm of death, but I think to kind of like clarify that it wasn't the realm of death would take something of a retcon. I think you can...
I don't think so.
You can
I don't think so. I think Zareth Mortis showed us, man. I think Zareth Mortis, again, in the literature surrounding the Shadowlands, told us this. You don't have to retcon anything. The final cutscene of the Shadowlands is literally the jailer coming to the realization that Primus was controlling him. Like,
no, actually... The Shadowlands we went to was just the Shadowlands, which is like part of our reality. It is literally just a shadow to our reality. It's where, you know, the souls of our reality go when they die, but it's not the actual realm of death. That would take some reworking, that would take some retconning, because like the whole idea is Zareth Mortis and everything like that, right? And you know, they are literally death. But I think it would be worth it. I'm completely against retconning the events of Shadowlands, but I am up for retconning what the Shadowlands is, to make it what it's supposed to be and what it was always supposed to be. But what's the difference between the realm of death and where dead people go? Well, no, it's not where dead people go. It's where dead people specifically from our reality go. It's not where dead people from the void realm go. It's not where dead people from the arcane realm go. It's not where...
Which is weird because we can't explain why Argus went there. If that's the case, then, I mean, we can't really explain why they even went there.
Dead people from the life realm go, or
I mean, it is. It's where the wild gods go. It is.
From the fell realm go, or from the holy realms go. Our reality, don't forget, is separate.
So what Talie's trying to say is that there's a different death realm for every cosmological force. I don't think that's correct. I think they bleed together in a collage. The Shadowlands is supposed to be a cosmological makeup of different afterlives that are one world, but they're not. They're shattered and divided. That's the whole point.
Whatever our reality is, whatever our reality is in, it's not in any of these realms. It is...
Yeah, I would say that that is technically correct. Reality as we know it is in a pocket of Titan making, and I would generally agree that it does not necessarily exist or belong to any one specific cosmological force. If it did, it'd probably be like creation or order, frankly.
Is a seventh realm. Reality is a realm of itself.
We actually don't know that, though. Technically, we could exist within the realm of order and not know it. But I'm not going to say that is for sure the case, but we could exist in the realm of order and not know it.
It is a seventh realm.
The Shadowlands is kind of like a giant phylactery, except not everything is reborn from it. Most things go into it and then they stay there forever. The only thing that goes into the Shadowlands and then comes back out are wild gods. That's it.
Reality is a realm of itself. You know? So, you know, like the Shadowlands is... I mean, you can see here, right?
And Ysera, I guess.
The Shadowlands really... The reason it's called the Shadowlands... And what it's always been whenever we've gone there in the past, before the Shadowlands expansion, is it is like just a death version of the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream being...
No. Well, yes, but no. What Talie is... I don't know if he realizes this. It's a death and shadow version of Azeroth. Not of the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream and the Shadowlands are mirror images of Azeroth. That's what Dave Kosak said. And that they both came to exist with the creation of Azeroth, essentially, is what he claimed anyway. I don't know if that'll end up being true, because Dave Kosak hasn't been in the game for a while. But Shadowlands is not a mirror of the Emerald Dream. It's a mirror of reality. And the Emerald Dream is also a mirror of reality, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're mirrors of each other. So I know that sounds pedantic, but there is some nuance there to be determined.
A recreation of Azeroth specifically. And likewise, it was with the Shadow Realm.
Okay.
The death version of the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream being a recreation of Azeroth specifically. And likewise, it was with the Shadow Realm and the Shadowlands. That it was just like a shadowy version, a death version of Azeroth.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, Shadowlands goes against that, and it becomes like...
I don't think it does, though. The Shadowlands expansion doesn't go against that. You can still have that be the case, and everything in the Shadowlands is the same.
Like the afterlife for all living things in our reality and in the universe, right? You know, the whole reason the Arbiter was broken in the first place was because they'd managed to send...
By the way, if you gotta send souls to the Shadowlands, and then how are they supposed to get back to reality, by the way? Like, what do we do with souls? Because this is all predicated on a concept that souls are just unlimited and infinite. There's no source of them. They just exist forever. Should the Shadowlands and the Emerald Dream, if they're life and death, should they even be separated? No, probably not. Probably not. I would imagine that the realm where dead souls go is probably also pretty directly linked to the realm where souls are reborn. And if the Emerald Dream is the realm of life and the Shadowlands is the realm of death, then hypothetically, they should probably just be made one. They should probably just be one world, one process, one thing.
The whole reason the Arbiter was broken in the first place was because they'd managed to send Argus there. The soul of a Titan wasn't supposed to be with there, and it broke the Arbiter. The soul of a Titan is supposed to go to the arcane realm when it dies. That's where Titans go when they die. In the same way that demons go to...
Then why don't the wild gods go to the Emerald Dream? Eternal beings that are sourced from a realm.
Twisting
there is not proof in several cases that they just like go back to their realm and come back. Like that's not like where does that come from? Like Steve Denuser said that like in I don't understand. Like so what he's saying is that the twisting nether is the afterlife for demons. That these are all afterlives. All of them. But it's also where they come from.
Which is part of the Fell zone. Fell realm when they die. The wild gods going to the Shadowlands when they die sucks ass as well, by the way. Shouldn't have happened.
The entire storyline where we learn about the Winter Queen and her sister Elune. Where we see the Emerald Dream connect to the Shadowlands. The place where we learned about the mycelial network that allows people to teleport around Ardenweald, and that the Winter Queen showed up and ordered it. The same realm that the other side connects to and links the trolls to Ardenweald and to the Winter Queen, and brings the Loa into the picture.
Pelagos is fine. Nothing wrong with Pelagos. Pelagos is great. Pelagos becoming the Arbiter was fine. Nothing wrong with that. People were just like really down on Shadowlands. They were slagging everything at the time. But Pelagos becoming the Arbiter, nothing wrong with that at all. However...
my only argument would be that Pelagos being aligned with the Kyrian made anyone that wasn't a Kyrian feel disconnected. That was my problem. I just didn't really care too much for him because I wasn't Kyrian. I just didn't really care. Like, I think... maybe a more neutral character would have been. I don't know.
I'm all for Blizz coming out and being like, the Shadowlands, it wasn't actually the Death Realm.
They don't need to come out and say that, Taliesin. That's why we do speculation, homie. Like, the power of deduction can lead us to the answer. We don't need to rely upon them confirming it for us to come up with ideas that can be essentially proven.
It was like the afterlife specifically for our reality, but it was separate from the Death Realm, just like it is shown in the cosmology chart. I'm calling it a retcon, but it's a...
I don't know about separate from it. I think that these planetary bodies could have hardline links to the realms, to the planes, so to speak, and maybe the idea that it's all separate planes is pretty bad. Maybe it's just the twisting nether, where all of these powers exist. Everyone seems to forget that the twisting nether is a literal realm of pure magic that has every cosmic force intermingling. The Emerald Dream connects there. Reality connects there. Worlds connect to each other through it. The Naru can travel through it with their ships. Like, the realm of death is potentially connected to it. Like,
a retcon of a retcon, you know? What is a retcon of a retcon? It's like just putting stuff right again, right? It's like, this is how it was always presented to us, the Shadowlands, as part of our reality. And then Shadowlands, the expansion, kind of, set it up as something different. Because you have to if you're setting the entire expansion there, which is why the number...
No, you don't. No, you don't. What is that? What is that? What is that logic? That like... What? No, you don't.
One mistake of the Shadowlands expansion, before you talk about Sylvanas, before you talk about the Jailer, before you talk about even the long fucking gap in between patches, even before you talk about the Maw, even before you talk about the fucking Covenant system, the biggest and first mistake that Shadowlands made as an expansion was to make it the setting of an expansion. And
I mean, I don't think that's a bad take, actually. Like, rather than trying to respect it for what it is, but that's like kind of unquantifiable. Like, you're making an assumption without really knowing that, right? Like, we don't, Like, I just don't agree that the Shadowlands was presented to us as something completely separate and disconnected. I don't agree with that. It literally links to Icecrown's Citadel. Like, and again, we don't talk about the Titans at all. We don't even talk about we don't even talk about the possibility that the Eternal Ones, who are allegedly made by the first ones, are prisoners. Like, what? Like, I've talked about this before. I'm not the only one who saw the Winter Queen as like a prisoner who couldn't leave. Like, she's like in like a very nice customized prison cell, but that's what it is. Like, she and her sister have not been allowed to like communicate with one another for a reason. Like, it almost felt like Elune coming and speaking to her was almost like someone visiting their loved one in prison, like that they're there for visitation or something. Like, there's just so much regarding the Shadowlands that supports what it is that just gets ignored because people think very broadly about the Shadowlands.
We said this from before Shadowlands was announced as an expansion, when everyone was correctly speculating that the next expansion would be Shadowlands. I'm on record as being like, I think that's a bad idea simply because I think the Shadowlands is a bad place to set an expansion, because the Shadowlands is like Argus. It's one note, and it should be one note. And you set an expansion there, you have to expand the lore of the Shadowlands more than it can hold. And you're going to have to introduce like a nice zone to it. And you're going to have to introduce different colored kind of and like thematic zones to it. And that's not what the Shadowlands is supposed to be. The Shadowlands is like the definition of one note, right? Like the Emerald Dream. You can't have different kind of themed zones in the Emerald Dream, right? So Shadowlands kind of retconned what the Shadowlands was because they had to suddenly set a fucking expansion there, right? But we can clarify going forward. Blizzard could do this. They don't have to retcon anything that happened in Shadowlands. They just need to be like, oh, just so you remember, this is just the afterlife for your reality, whatever your reality is. We still don't really know, really. But we've never actually been to the realm of death, fam. We've never actually been there, just so you know. No, don't think so. That's still to come. That's still all up for grabs, you know? The Shadowlands was specific to your reality. I think they could pull that off. I think it would be a good retcon that wouldn't actually break anything that's happened and would only improve things, i.e. the best kind of retcon. And so I am in favor of that. I am in favor of them being like, it's just for our reality. It's not the realm of death you went to. It was just the Shadowlands that you went to, which is separate. Just like it's shown on the cosmology chart. I think you could pull that off easy.
It's already been done.
What if that's the revelation Sylvanas comes back with? Yeah, maybe. But I don't think she's going to come back with any revelations about the Shadowlands. I think she's going to come back just, you know, I've done my penance.
I mean, I think she should come back with revelations about the Shadowlands, to be honest. Why the fuck wouldn't she? She's spending who knows how much time repenting in the Maw. Like, like if you're gonna use any character as a vessel for the acknowledgement that the Shadowlands is a Titan ordering mechanism and an eternal imprisonment mechanism, it would be Sylvanas.
I've done my atonement. I've rescued all the souls of the Night Elves.
It would literally be her.
Or it took me 1 billion years, but time works differently in the Shadowlands. I'm 1 billion years old now, and I rescued all the souls. I found the Thanos, and I heard that Silvermoon is in trouble.
I love how they say time works differently in the Shadowlands. Do people ever consider the possibility that time just doesn't exist there? And that it doesn't exist in the Emerald Dream either? That these are eternal realms that literally don't abide by the rules of time and space? Like, and if the Shadowlands does, it's ordered because it's within the confines of time and space. Like, in that the Emerald Dream should be an eternal realm that isn't affected by time, and in fact, it's pretty much stated multiple times that people in the dream don't perceive time the same way as people on the regular world. And the same thing in Zereth Mortis. It's said there too that they're not sure if things in the Shadowlands really even perceive time in the same way that we do.
I heard the Void are attacking the Sunwell. Well, it is my destiny to protect that.
Yeah, so he thinks that she is going to come back for Midnight as well and be part of the defense of Silvermoon, and I totally agree. Fully agree. If that's what he thinks, I fully agree. It seems like the appropriate time to bring her back. You can't bring her back in the war within, it's way too soon. And when you bring her back in Midnight, she can't be the main facing character. Got to make it more about Illyria and Eretor and Turalyon and stuff. But Midnight is the time to bring her back.
That's how I got into this mess in the first place, was protecting Silvermoon, don't forget. And like, you know, the circular kind of...
But against Dementius, contrived.
like, coming round to her final death being protecting Silvermoon, but successfully this...
Her final death? What does he think the hour of her third death is about Sylvanas? She's already died 3 times, fam. She died to Arthas, she died when she jumped off Icecrown, and she died when she got shot in the back of the head by Baron fucking whoever that was. It's not her. Illyria has said that she's died twice figuratively, but no one suspects Eonar.
This time, and against the Void, is too obvious and poetic and fitting, isn't it? You know, that's how she gets her atonement, is that she comes back and she successfully protects Silvermoon this time.
Yeah.
Which is like a great cleanser for her because, you know, it's protecting Silvermoon where she got turned into the Banshee Queen in the first place and lost her free will.
100%.
And set all these things in, you know, no one's going to kind of say it's okay what she did or forgive her. Like, it doesn't make the things she did any better, but she can still do some good, you know.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Well said.
I mean, it would be kind of criminal if that's not what happened.
Kind of based. I mean, I agree. I mean, he just said it'd be kind of criminal if that's not what happened. I fully agree. I 100% agree with Taliesin on this point, which I almost never say about anything. But I 100% agree. I think that is the appropriate time for the appropriate reason. And I think that what he just said is 100% based.
In a way. It's such an obvious thing.
Agreed.
Will Corporate let them kill her off? I think to kill her off properly like that would be, yeah, okay. You know?
Yeah,
because
but what's the point? What's the point? Maybe she goes to the true realm of death or something? Like, what's the point, though? After all of this, why just kill Sylvanas off? I don't really see that happening. I don't know. Maybe in a sacrifice, her sacrificing herself or something, but that's kind of what I wanted from her before. I just don't really see that. I mean, like, I kind of want Turalyon to die, but that's for my own personal reasons.
Finding some redemption there, wouldn't she? Personal redemption, if not redemption in other people's eyes, but I think obviously it would...
What do you want to die? Turalyon.
Translate into that as well. Maybe she has...
I'd actually like to see Turalyon overcome his zealot light war mentality. See him move past being like a 1,000-year war veteran, but I don't see that happening. It seems like Illyria said, with how much she has changed and stuff over time, it seems like Turalyon has always just hardened into his ideals more. That he's never really been one to shift on his beliefs or ideals at all. He continues to cement himself in them, which to me, I mean, it's an interesting dichotomy, of course, between light and void, with Illyria's willingness to change. But the reality is that you don't have to change that much. Illyria hasn't really changed that much. She's still the same person she was, even for all the entropy of the void. And I think the truth with Turalyon is that he doesn't have to change that much. He really doesn't. He just has to, like, look at what's the most important to him and, like, what's worth fighting for. Because Turalyon's the kind of zealot that'll go and fight against the Legion for 1,000 years. You know? Which Illyria did too, but she wasn't Lightforged like he was. Which was also done because Illyria would outlive him if that wasn't done.
Become the new Lich King to do it, so that we will have a Lich King for the...
There's a new dev interview? Oh, shit. With Morgan Day and Katrina Yepes?
One thing. Yeah, I mean, that was always going to be the obvious thing to do with her, wasn't it? And they kind of turned their back on that in Shadowlands. Is that chart correct? It was my impression that the Titans were on the same level of power as the Void Lords, but they appear to be below the Void Lords in the cosmology. Yeah, well, that's the thing we've always said. The Titans aren't on the same level as the Void Lords, but you don't need the cosmology chart to show you that. You just need to realize where they are. Like, they are the arcane order realms representatives in our reality.
But that doesn't mean that they're of a lesser power than Void Lords. That doesn't mean that. In fact, the Void Lords require a tremendous amount of energy to manifest in reality. So how are the Titans able to do it, Taliesin? Like, this is not so cut and dry as he's trying to make it. Titans and Wild Gods are not on the same level. Void Lords are not above the Titans. Like, this is a huge misinterpretation from this map. It is not just an equal opposite on all sides. It isn't like that. It's meant to appear that way, but it isn't like that. The Titans are insanely powerful. They're stronger than Naru. They're stronger than Old Gods. We have an alleged story that the Titans reached down and ripped Yasharaj, the strongest Old God, out with his bare hands. If that's true. The Eternal Ones are not as strong as Titans. At least I don't believe they are. Why? I don't know why you would think that they would be. And as Dave Kosak said, the Titans are the winners so far in this cosmic conflict. Like, we saw Sargeras literally as big as our world, on fire with a giant sword. Like, I just don't understand how we put that on the same or lesser, for some reason, power scale than Dementius. I don't get that. Dementius was summoned by Ethereals and slowly ate at the world. He didn't, like, I just don't fully grasp. Maybe it's nuance in how we define power, but I think just looking at this and assuming that since this is here and this is there, that they must be of equal power, I don't think that's correct.
Void Lords in our reality.
What did he just say?
Arcane Order Realms representatives in our reality. You don't see Void Lords in our reality.
Well, not naturally. Do you naturally see Titans in our reality? Like, how do you know that they didn't infiltrate it as well or construct it in the first place? Like, I think people really underestimate the Titans. I think they really underestimate them. I can't be the only one who thinks that. Like, that. Maybe I overestimate them. Maybe I put too much stock into them, and maybe that's what they would want someone like me to do, is to believe that they're stronger than they are.
They don't fucking bother with our reality. They send old gods into our reality.
They don't bother with our reality, except their whole plot with those old gods is to consume our reality. The whole plot, allegedly, is so that they could corrupt. It doesn't even make sense. Do you guys realize that we have two completely different void plots? We all realize that, right? I hope everyone understands that there are two alleged stories going on with the Void Lords. One in which Xalatath comes as the Harbinger and summons Dementius, and one in which the old gods are shot out to corrupt a sleeping world soul so that they could get control of it. So which one's true? Are they both true? Are they half true? What is true?
The Titans are the equivalent of the old gods.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Always have been. You just need to...
No, they have not. No, they are not.
Look at what role they play. What are they trying to do? They go from planet...
They fight each other, sure, but to say that they're like this, like they're the equal opposite or whatever, I don't think... I mean, I guess that could technically be true if we want to go Order versus Flesh and we want to put the Void Lords against the Naru. Technically, maybe. Here's my opinion. I think Old Gods and Wild Gods are probably a little more appropriately compared to one another, personally. And I think Old Gods go there, and I think Void Lords go there. Old Gods don't go there. They think they go there because they got corrupted by Void, probably because of idiotic fucking experiments because of the Titans. So the Old Gods go there with nature and spirit and water and the Emerald Dream as they so blatantly thematically fit in, and the Void Lords come down a step. That's why the cosmology is wrong. Because the Wild Gods probably shouldn't even fucking exist here. They should probably exist, you guessed it, in reality, where they were found.
To planet, trying to find world souls, and trying to make them be born.
You know what you just described, Taliesin? The Titans.
They send old gods into our reality. The Titans are the equivalent of the old gods, and always have been. You just need to look at what role they play. What are they trying to do? They go from planet to planet,
I see what he's saying.
Trying to find world souls,
and
trying to make them be born.
That's his point. He's contrasting the fact that they do that with the fact that the Titans do that, if that's what the old gods are actually doing.
That's exactly what the old gods do. The
Titans he was describing the Titans. My bad.
Even before this chart, you know, we'd always say the Titans, like, they are the arcane equivalent of the Void Lords, right? This chart makes it explicit and puts it into images. But
It doesn't make it explicit. They don't appear to be equals, bro. What are you talking about?
You think about it, and it's always been that way.
I mean, I get what he's trying to say in terms of like the old gods and the Titans have both been looking for worlds, trying to wake them up, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. I follow that. But I feel like, yet again, Taliesin's not really like, he never talks about like the context of why we believe these things. For instance, the idea that the Void Lords created the old gods to corrupt the sleeping Titan is literally something that Sargeras is alleged to have been told by Dreadlords. Like, I feel like that's never factored into the conversation. That, like, we were told that by perhaps the most manipulative group in the whole cosmos. Like, I just don't, I don't know. This is an orderly depiction. It's trying to make order from the chaos that is the cosmos. And part of the chaos is that things are not necessarily all on equal power levels. And they're not always, like, direct copies of each other. But I think he made some good points towards the end there.